stuff.
Hey, yay, we're live.
Are we live? Are we live?
Finally.
Well,
happy birthday,
hello.
despite everything.
Wait. What? Lady G's birthday?
No, isn't it your birthday?
No. I'm 12th of October. Not my birthday at all. Well, not to worry. Well, hello everyone. As you can see, there is a bit
mine's coming up, but not yet. Next month.
Next month. Next month. As you will see, there is a bit of sweat on my forehead. As you know, sometimes it is a little bit of a challenge to get here on the show because obviously I sacrifice my Saturday evening. Every evening, absolutely love the show, of course, love everyone, everything like that. However, the buses here in Gran Canaria are unreliable. I left myself more than an hour and a half to get here, and it's taken me 2 hours to get here. Yeah. So apologies for all of that. I was kind of cussing and blinding off screen.
I was shocked.
StreamYard.
It takes a bit to shock an Australian with swearing.
StreamYard's doing this weird thing, and it's asking me about my branding for the channel right now. So I can't even see the chat. So I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to basically click on the 3 dots and hopefully it will delete it. But we will dive in. So apologies. I did write to everyone on the community to say that I was running a bit late. If you don't have a car here, you know, the buses are the only way around. And I'm trying to end, I've got this, look, just so you know, ladies, I've got dance pop, daydreaming, feeding the ducks, into space. It's giving me all of this music stuff. Let me just go, if I click on the comments, maybe that will just give me that instead.
Well, don't worry, we can see the comments. I can see them. Can you, Lady G?
Yes. Oh, good. I'm
all right, let's push on.
Flying blind. Let's go. In fact, I might just have to click delete brand because I just don't even know what's going on there. So let's dive in with the show. Exit page. Oh no. Okay, I'm getting weird stuff, ladies. Weird stuff.
Ignore
all right. So let's
be the first time.
Exactly. We're just gonna kind of go with it here. And now the first question, because I did prepare some questions in advance. Let me just get up my oh God, what am I saying? It's just giving me weird stuff. So if we go up here, now we need to talk. Let's talk. We're going to talk about the balloon, but let's talk about the jobs boom that has happened with Joe Biden. A bit of good news for Joe Biden. Now, for those that don't know, many of you would have seen the headlines already, but according to the statistics, and you could see kind of Fox News sort of like chewing wasps over this because they didn't want to deliver the good news. But and now say in the comments if we've not got the figure exactly right. But what I have is that 12.5 million jobs have been created in the last 2 years under Biden's administration.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask is A, will it continue? But more importantly, will it help the Dems in 2024? That's what I want to ask.
Okay, let's get stuck in. So the good job numbers.
Will it help the Dems in 2024? And apologies again for being late, folks, but I really did try my best.
We'll still go the full hour. You will get your money's worth, dearest viewers.
Absolutely.
Well, we know they paid so much for this. So.
That's right.
No comment. No comment. But anyone that has a YouTube show, as you ladies know, it is a lot more work than people think. Yes, we have a great time and stuff like that, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into these things, and it is live. Sometimes stuff just happens. Like where I am. I'm in a foreign country.
There's a reason I don't do lives. I go on other people, but not hosting them because it's not easy.
Indeed. So let's have a look. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, who's ready to go first?
I'm ready. Okay, let's kick off. In answer to the question, it's sort of one of those yeah but no but scenarios. Like on the one hand, we've got the card of ruthlessness and moving on and all of that. So that's suggesting no, because things are being played out in terms of the culture wars, not real information. So that was the beginning, but it's a bit more nuanced than that. There's some confidence with the Six of Cups, things going back to where most people who want a job can get a job, but it's the quality of the work and the pay that is the real issue. There's no shortage of badly paid, insecure work in a service economy. So it certainly won't look strength. It will help them because in the baseline, there must be somebody in the voting public who cares and notices. It will help, but how it helps is really not clear on the ground, if you know what I mean. What's happening in people's lives, in people's home? Yes, they've got not only one job, sometimes 2 and 3. But our real problem is that with this, it's a fake, so overused as a word, but the problem is we now have the working poor. That's in America, Australia, the UK. It's not about just, oh, phew, I've got a job, everything's going to be all right. Those days are gone. No, it just means, you know, you're not necessarily living in a car next week. Temperance Angel is coming in to answer this question at the end too, which is it will provide some sort of security because it also undermines their argument Dems can't manage the economy. They can't say that if it's a booming job market.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Was that everything, Lena? Or
yeah, I could go on for 2 hours, but best move on.
Lady G, what do you?
Unplug you for a minute here, Lena.
Hold her beer. Hold her beer.
Yeah, just switch my mic off when I go on a rant. You know.
Oh my goodness. Well, what I got from it was the occupation, the jobs things, and there will be fish tales, of course, told to America by we know who, the joy of the Repugly Ugly Party. Going into it, we have the mature man, which of course would be Biden, but things will be tempered when it comes to the economy and those talking about it, because we have those, the challenge with it is the sudden wealth, what's coming in, that they are talking about erroneously. Of course, you know, we know that the other side is going to continue to put out bogus nonsense. As far as the gifting things coming, people are kind of walking away, not really thrilled with it. That's the light that's on it. Because challenge was expectations about more work, better work, and it's short-term, short-lived. Yeah. So mine is right up there with yours, Lena. Yeah, we got that, but it's not going to really do enough to enhance for 2024 for the Dems.
It doesn't hurt, but it's not a magic
Exactly.
Indeed. And just so everyone knows, before I read my cards, I'm trying to click up on the comments, but I'm having some really weird stuff going on with my electronics right now. So I almost don't even want to dabble with it too much. So ladies, I'm going to rely on you to just pick out certain comments that are come to your interest and stuff like that. Because if I click here, it's just doing all sorts of weird stuff on my side. And I'm like, I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to mess it up. So, okay, the cards that I have, again, similar to you ladies, it's sort of like what I would say a mixed bag. Yeah. Mixed bag. So here we are. We've got the 10 of Cups here. So this is all everyone kind of rejoicing in the good news. Yay! Maybe it's not so bad for, after all, because we know. Look, there are intelligent people, as we know, watch our channel. They're informed. They're multifaceted. And we understand that we have to take what we see in the media from a pinch of salt. On the far right of the media, they have been predicting what? Doom and gloom for ages, and they want everything to go down into a tailspin, and we're going into recession. Yet somehow the reality doesn't seem to match up with this narrative. It seems to be more positive than they're trying to portray. However, in the obstacle position here, we do have the 4 of Swords. Now, as we know, this can mean being wounded in battle or chilling out, having to take a back seat a little bit. Do you remember when we were reading on the Democrat elections, Lady G, and we got the 4 of Swords come up.
Right.
Now, is this saying recession? Maybe not necessarily, but it's almost like there's this good news, but maybe it doesn't keep kind of going. However, these are the best numbers since 1969.
Yeah.
That's worth saying. That's a win, folks. That's 3.4%. But I do have a follow-up question anyway, but I don't want to digress too much. By the way, these are fabulous numbers. Thank you for all the donations, by the way. I would normally click your names up, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here we are in the middle, almost kind of anchoring the reading. We've got the 2 of Swords. So is it the case we have this good news, but it's almost like there's great news, but it's almost like some people are not wanting to see that good news. And when we see the follow-up question, this card here will make a lot of sense because there are quite a few people that are economically inactive as well. This also speaks to me as well. It's kind of like, well, there's jobs out there, but how good are those jobs? Yeah, which seems to echo both of your cards. So it's almost like if we see this card as the potential employees and workers of America, yes, there's work out there, but they're not sure about the quality of that work. And I think that's fair enough to say. Here we've got the Emperor card. So of course this can talk about emperors of industry, leadership, etc., stuff like that. I was watching something recently where there's a lot of business leaders, male and female, that are trying to get the employees in, but they're saying we can't get enough people. What's going on? Could it be those factors that you and Lady G have mentioned about maybe the pay is not quite right, or maybe there's a perception
Well, I think
problem?
there's more to it than that, which is every developed country actually needs new generations of migrant workers to fill, because people aren't having 6 kids, 8 kids anymore. They're having 2, 1, or none. So we, as the majority Anglos in these countries, are not reproducing. Therefore, we need healthy migrants, because migrants who are allowed in tend to be of a certain age bracket. They have to be healthy to pass the checks. They have to be prepared to do all sorts of work, etc., etc. And they are what keeps the economies rolling on. And this doesn't get pointed out by the Labor governments in Australia or the UK. Everyone avoids the migrant issue. It doesn't penetrate the conservative mindset. But that's why the struggle to fill jobs is because of Brexit and Australia becoming lukewarm to immigration and stuff. Immigration is not the enemy. It's the invigorating thing that keeps economies moving.
Yeah,
I agree. I pulled 3 last cards to see, and it's the burden of the Republic uglies that don't want to address it.
Yeah.
You got the same as well. You got the same as well.
Blocked. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know it. I'm not giving it my amount of money, and no.
Do you know what this is remarkable, isn't it? Each week the synchronicity between our cards, and as we know, everyone, this is a 17, this show spans 17 time zones. This is no joke. It really does.
And it felt like it this morning.
I'm sure, and it felt like it as I was coming up the side of Gran Canaria on the bus, and I was just like, hurry up, guys.
Willing it to go faster.
It's go faster, stopping at every hotel and inn along the way. But anyway,
there's nothing more frustrating when you've got to be somewhere and you can't, there's nothing you can do about it.
It's hell, isn't it?
It's just like, oh my God, the bus ride is 45 minutes and I left an hour and a half. Ample time. But looky here, look at my outcome card. Precisely what you're talking about when we're talking about jobs and economy and stuff like that. So look, obviously, you know, we're not going to be Debbie Downers about this. This is great news, but we are asking, how will this translate into 2024? We know the collective has famously short memories, and the second the gas price goes up, everyone's just like, yeah, down with you know who and everything like that, which really isn't fair.
Oh, sorry, Hogarth, just to stop you. Could you please take the banner down because they can't see the cards?
Oh, is the banner still up there? Oh, let me just, because for me, it's not showing. Hopefully, has it come down now, everyone?
Yes, it's down now.
Oh, God.
Sorry, you were saying? I think it was the
no problem. When I get delayed, I have to use the other computer and it goes a bit weird, even though it's better than my other computer. Too long to explain. Anyway, so sorry about that, guys. I'm not going to do any clicking on banners or anything like that because it's just taking too long this evening. So here, look, we've got the Two of Pentacles as the outcome card. Yeah, the juggling card. We know this means what? Ups and downs, round and round. Balancing things, trying to settle those stormy waters. So let's just see how the economy develops as we go along. As an outcome card, it's saying this good news, which should be a boon for the Democrats. It's like a mixed bag. It looks like there's going to be things that come along, and we can also see that the Republicans, we know that they want instability. They want chaos. They want instability. They don't want good news. They want to muddy the waters. They want to ginny things up. Do you know what I mean? Even the right-wing media, you could literally see in them. They didn't want to give that good news. Isn't this a sad state of affairs? So good for now, but we'll have to see. But everything we're saying segues perfectly into the next question. And ladies, I really want to get your opinion on this. Now, I think I was watching way back early this morning. I was watching a little clip, and I think it was Good Morning America. Now, listen, folks, don't hate me for this. Some people may like Good Morning America or not. I'm just trying to get a broad palette of news. But they had an interesting, because I'm not fussed either way. They had an interesting article, and it was talking about economically inactive men, which dovetails perfectly with what Lady G and Lena are talking about. Now, listen to this. We've just had 12.5 million or thereabouts jobs created by the Biden administration, which is the most in history. Bona fide, straight up. Great stuff. However, there are, allegedly, according to Good Morning America, 7.2 million economically inactive men between the ages of 25 and 55. Isn't this interesting? Now, what they were saying is they're not working, and they said a third of them have criminal records. I mean, that's just astonishing in of itself, but there's that. So they're blocked from the labor market. Some say they have disabilities and some may not have the right skills. But isn't it interesting? If America has an indigenous native population of 7.2 million or thereabouts not working, then the obvious thing, of course, you're going to need migrants, just like you said. But what I want to ask is, I've got some theories about why that is, but I want to ask the cards, why are so many working age men in America economically inactive? And then I'll throw in my 6 pence worth at the end. But I think it's worth
well, I'll throw in my $200 worth at the end, because this is one of my babies. You know.
Oh, sure. So
we'll see
let's see what the cards say, and just get ready for a rant, folks. Yeah, because I'm going to let
Rip. Right. Put your rant pants on. Look out, people.
And thanks for joining us, guys. We've got over 1,000 of you here. Apologies again for the lateness and the banner. Okay, economically inactive men. 7.2 million, there or thereabouts. And they said they're watching almost 7 hours of television.
Oh, that's a lie. They're watching 21 hours of television a day. It's like people say, oh, my children watch 90 minutes a day on a screen. No, they don't. No, they don't.
Let's see. So what do the cards have to say? Because this is really quite a conundrum. I mean, fabulous news on over 12 million jobs. Let's just say over 12 million jobs. But then to have 7 million or more economically inactive, that is really a worry. At the same time as there are many people wanting to come to America to work, it's quite a perplexing situation, isn't it? Who's ready
Not
to
at
go?
all if you're a sociologist. No,
indeed.
No mysteries.
Yes, it's quite obvious, isn't it? It's quite obvious, the solution.
Do you want to go, Lady G?
Sure, I'll go. We have in the center of it, they want to go to calmer waters. They want something better, you know, light on the subject. Waiting for their ship to come in, wanting to have more power. They feel like it's being eaten away. I just I'm feeling the what do you call it? The white supremacist people, you know. They want more. They want to walk away. It's temperate from America. The coffin. America's dying. We don't want it. You know, it's that whole saga of people. Yeah, the poor me saga. It's not enough.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Are
you done, Lady G, or is it? Yeah, you done. That was. I just wanted to check, make sure that you were finished before.
Oh, I'm done. That was it. Just the poor me saga going on. They want more power, and I'm not getting it, so I'm going to sit here and pout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lena,
I only pulled 4 cards, and 3 are pentacles, money, and 1 is the world. Okay, so we've got the King and Queen of Pentacles, which is unusual to get King and Queen of the same suit in a mini spread like 4 cards. I mean, statistically, what are the chances of that?
Very significant.
They've also got, if you think of these as the parents, they've got their adult child, the Knight of Pentacles, standing still.
Who won't leave home? Who won't leave home? Wow.
So this is putting stresses on families where the male's not working and the wife has to work. It's putting pressure on parents, what we call in Australia boomerang kids, who leave home for 2 days and come back. There's all these other pressures that it causes, and that this is a global problem. So moving my tarot, and why is it a global problem? I'm glad you asked. It's because the world at the time, the early 80s, Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan, marriage made in hell, they saw the coming in of what we call in academia neoliberalism, which is hard for people to get. It's a bit awkward, but what it basically is the corporatization and the privatization of everything. So government jobs that people could get and be secure with gone. Each branch of government gets outsourced. But the one to answer this question is when manufacturing was sent offshore because the captains of industry wanted cheaper consumer products and they could exploit Asian workers. Then those unskilled industries died. The coal industry, the steel industry, the manufacturing industry in all our countries disappeared. You can't buy an Australian T-shirt for love or money. We all got seduced into the cheap garments. And when you can't soak up those who don't finish school but could always go and work really hard in unskilled industries and buy a house and bring up their kids, the social contract was broken.
Yeah.
And these men are not able to get work when the cheap work is done. Then it's easy to turn them against China and against the foreign worker. And they see the worker as taking their jobs, not the capitalists who made sure it happened and who benefit from it. It's that disconnect. Whereas at least in Europe, the workers get that they're being shafted by the capitalist class. Whereas it's not so common in Australia and certainly not America. It's easier to demonize the migrant than the capitalist class that is really just screwing you to the ground to maximize profits. So once you have an uneducated, unemployed body of men of 7 million, and there must be more, there'd be others who aren't even in the calculations, probably 10 million. Then you have other social deterioration. They become incels or they become white supremacists or whatever. And then they're ripe for all that. Oh, we're being replaced. And every theory is fertile ground for violence and resentment. So you need to be able to offer large-scale unskilled work to absorb that population and have them as functioning citizens, which is your point. A third have criminal records. And that's a cycle. Criminal record, you can't get a job, and if you can't get a job, you end up doing crime. You get a bigger criminal record, and around it goes. So no mystery, no mystery. This is the natural outcome of those policies going back to Reagan.
Fascinating. And we've got. Before I pull my cards, we've got some very interesting things in the comments as well. So I'm not going to click up on it because I might not be able to get the thing down again. But Shivani Dumas says, interesting. Now it's just gone blank. Interesting, inactive men. Prison industrial complex have caught some, as many did not have representation. So men are sitting in jails as the police state sold them out. Many are innocent. So there is obviously... Absolutely. So we're seeing the confluence of several things, because isn't it astonishing? So according to the show, we take it with a pinch of salt, but they said 7.2 million or thereabouts. Let's just say 7, and you can clarify me in the comments. Don't mind that. Out of that number, for a third of them allegedly to have criminal records. I mean, that is an astonishing number. And then
not really, because we know if you're uneducated and poor, then you add black or brown into the equation, you will go to jail.
Exactly.
For the same offense, someone else will be let off for. It's not about the criminality of these groups. It's about the system. It intervenes in 4 places. I'll just quickly go through those, which is kids kicking down a bus stop or something. White kids will be cautioned by those police. The black kids will be put into the system for the first time at 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it just multiplies. Once you're in the system, you're infinitely, statistically more likely to continue in the system. And it's like that.
Indeed. And then I'm going to add a little, after reading my cards, I'm going to add a little riff of my own, for my own research and stuff like that. So this is quite interesting, and I thought it was an important question to ask, because 7.2 million people there or thereabouts, that is, we're talking about a lot of people here.
Yeah.
There's obviously, it has to be a lot more going on. So the cards I've got, so I picked 5 and I picked 3 clarifiers. And the 5 that I picked, we'll debate. So here we are. What's this about? Now, isn't this funny? We're talking about men, and sometimes this card, Ace of Wands, can actually represent an erection. Yeah, cover your
It's a very phallic card,
folks. But you know, this is a seasoned crowd. I'm sure they can handle that word. But literally here we're talking about, look, the male palace. Yeah, quite literally. Talks about inspiration, oomph. Yeah, going out into the world, initiating new things. It deals with fertility and initiation. You see here that the rod here is sprouting new leafage. Yeah, so we're talking about the male energy. Fire as an element, or in astrology, water and earth are feminine elements, and fire and air are masculine elements. So isn't it interesting? We're talking about men, and we're literally talking about almost their virility. But look at the card that comes out next. Yeah?
Yeah.
10 of Swords. So straight away, in many... Oh, look.
Oh, no.
I pulled the final 3, and it's the same thing you're saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
17 time zones, folks. This is...
Yeah,
and we
I love that.
This is so incredible how spirit works. Well, look at this. So quite literally, these men are feeling what? Betrayed, stabbed in the back.
And they have been.
And they have been for decades now, And you know, there's this new terminology called quiet quitting and all of this kind of stuff, but we'll elaborate on that. But when we just read that, look, they feel betrayed, they feel impotent, they feel like their virility, Ace of Wands, has just been stopped because... A slight digression, but in terms of male psychology, and I'm not saying like to let all men off the hook and stuff like that, but there is a primordial element within the male psychology that wants to feel useful. Men want to feel useful. There's 2 ways to a man's heart, through his stomach, and the other one is saying how wonderful he is. Oh, you're my king. Do you know what that does for a man? For him to feel useful, that he can provide. So it's almost like they feel kiboshed, like their virility has been kiboshed.
Yes.
But who turns up in the middle of the reading to kind of anchor the 5 cards? Look at this, the false knight. They have been sold false messages, isn't it? Just as you were saying, ladies, look at that synchronicity to anchor the middle of the 5 cards. They've been sold false messages. First of all, the politicians have been talking about, oh yeah, more jobs, blah, 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 and outsourcing. So those low-skilled or medium-skilled jobs have vanished because they've been outsourced, but yet they've been told it's other people's fault. Yeah. So there's that. That has led to, look at this, 4 of Pentacles, economic hardship. We all know that essentially Americans, men and women, have not had an effective pay rise until the back end of the 1970s.
Yes.
It's true, isn't it?
It's true. Absolutely true.
So here is everyone almost in the collective holding on to their money, but it's almost like as well, when we look at this card, this is about conserving one's resources, one's energy. It's like this group, they've just gone into this collective, we're going to pull back. We're not getting anything out of the system. So what's the point? We may as well hold on to the little that we have and watch Xbox, and whatever, and this, that, and the other, because of all of these false messages that they've had from decades. Like you said, the Reagan era. Look at the outcome card. Before I pull the clarifiers, it's almost like these men are just like, you know what? Screw the system. I don't give a damn. Let it all die, and maybe something else may come out of it. But when you look at these 2 together, these men, they don't want to contribute to that system. They would rather see the whole system crash and die and burn. And this is, again, feeds into the disenchantment, you know, the Proud Boy things, the insurrection, the false messages, the lies, the outsourcing. We're not here making excuses for necessarily criminality and stuff like that, but this is showing that our cards are showing that this is a very complex thing. There is 7.2 million men out of work does not happen overnight. That is a huge number. We know
That's
there's 360.
it doesn't happen overnight, and it can't get fixed overnight.
Absolutely.
But
it will take
we
a while.
all need it, because socially it becomes problematic if you don't address it. It's like ignoring climate change costs billions. And it's the same with this. If you ignore this group of men, and people can write them up, or they're unproductive in capitalist
Yeah, they're
terms,
unproductive, they're criminal.
at your own peril. At your own peril, by picking them up early on. And I believe the interventions need to be early teens to be effective and lifelong. If you don't, we all pay the price.
Absolutely.
That's where it's short-term thinking.
Indeed. And if I look again, even in the clarifier, the Knight of Cups comes up again. So a lot of this is about messaging. You know, we've got the same card coming up twice in the same reading, different decks. So it shows that in terms of the political incentives, the messaging, these men are essentially being manipulated. Yes. I get the World card as well. So just as the ladies were saying, this is a global phenomena. It's almost like there's this huge gaslighting that's being going on. Would you agree, ladies?
Global gaslighting.
Huge.
Exactly.
Thank you, Lady June.
There you are. And then the outcome card here is that I get the Sun. Now we know the Sun is about quite a positive card, illumination, etc., the dispelling of illusions. I think the penny has dropped for a lot of these men. And globally, they're like, you know what? This is a con. Even the Duck L'Orange thing, you go forward, you got the suits and the boots, and it's the boots that get locked up, and the suits, till this day, we'll have to see how it changes, are still walking free. And I think these men are just like, you know what? I'm not going to engage. What is the point? I've been betrayed. I may as well take my disability money, or the little that I'm getting, I may as well conserve it, sit down, play my Xbox, and just be like, you know what? I could make the gesture, but flick the bird to everyone. And I just feel like there's some kind of clarity here where they've collectively reached this conclusion and go, you know what? This isn't for me. The system doesn't work for me. Ladies, what else do you have to add to that?
Well, in the comments, Marjorie points out, she's following up my point about juvenile intervention. This is the opposite. Louisiana has no more room for juveniles, and they're placing young kids in Angola, which is notorious as death row prison with adults.
Do you see how cruel? Look,
that's just
how cruel this whole thing is.
And what do you think is going to happen to those boys?
Well, they're going to be ruined. And again, it's that betrayal. Look how the consistent energy of our cards. Wow.
They're not going to come out of Angola and join the Scouts.
Yeah, no.
You know, if
Angola, which was riven by genocide, like 15, 20 years ago or something like that. Angola is a really difficult. I mean, look,
it's hardcore. It's chain gang stuff.
Yeah.
Remember the Neville brothers, Angola Bound. If you haven't heard it, anyone, you know, it's an amazing song. It takes you there emotionally. But Australia's no better. Aboriginal people are 2% of our total population, 2%. And they are 25% of the prison population. We have the highest juvenile incarceration rate in the world. It's higher than South Africa.
What?
Yeah. And it's Aboriginal kids, and they just pump through the system from north. It's disgusting. Wow. And every 20 years, we spend millions on another inquiry as to why it happens, and then nothing's implemented, and it keeps going. So shame on Australia. eternal shame.
I'm just pausing because I'm going to the community tab to pick up the questions, but when I go to the community tab, it shows our show live. So I've just paused that show on my phone. So here we are, sort of like just having this moment here.
There we go.
And oh, Shizel, it's the live chat is going. So let me see if I can find my, let me see if I can find, and now I've got all sorts of advertising coming up. Forgive me, folks. What on earth is going on here? Here we are, comments.
Well, while you're doing that, I wanted to address one comment that I saw by, and that was the comment was about indigenous here, Native Americans, that they're being subsidized and so they're all drinking and alcoholics. Well, yeah, no, that's not it. It's that they do not have any place for jobs by the reservations. There are just no jobs available.
Wow.
That's not being made available to them. So they've been culturally, just the whole thing is horrendous.
Yes.
Wow.
And because the Aboriginal situation is very similar to the Native American situation,
Exactly.
much more similar than to the African American situation.
Right.
And Australia had missions. Reservations were called missions because they were Christian missions.
Exactly.
And to this day, you've still got mission towns and stuff throughout Australia. Now, again, if you ask a lot of white Australians, oh, yeah, they just get given everything and they get drunk. And they say, well, yeah, many things about that. First of all, if you've stolen the country, I don't think you can say you've been given everything. But
that's very honest of you.
Thank you. Only 12% of Aboriginal adults drink alcohol. 12%. It's way lower than the white population.
Oh.
But the 12% who do drink heavily and publicly. So you go through town, right? So they're in a park and you see these drunk Aboriginal people and you go, Aboriginal people are drunks.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this small, dysfunctional, nightmarish cluster that are dealing with all sorts of individual personal trauma.
Exactly.
And the majority do not drink for this reason. And it's often the women, once again, who are holding up the communities. So in Australia, I'm not sure if it's the same in reservation situations, but we have here wet communities and dry communities. So wet communities where people can drink, dry communities, no alcohol allowed in the radius of the town. And you go to those two and you see the difference in those two towns.
Oh my God. Do you know what? Folks, you can see why I love having these ladies on this show, because each time it is an education. It is an education because I have just learned some stuff that I had no idea about. And who would have thought us talking about the male population in America not working, how it's dovetailed and broadened out into, wow.
Yeah, I think there's something else that people don't understand about reservations. These people do not own their houses. They're not allowed to build. They're not allowed to do anything without government position. And they're living in these old trailers that have holes in them. They can't fix it. And you have maybe two families living in there. And it's just, the poverty is unbelievable what they've been put through.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Isn't it? It's just astonishing, isn't it? It's just astonishing. So again, let us know what you think, guys, in the comments. We've got over 1,200 of you here with us now. Thank you so much, considering the show started half an hour late.
We are really grateful.
really grateful. And it's just like, thanks for the patience. So what is, a lot of people have left me some questions in the comments in terms of the community tab.
Yeah.
I can't access it because YouTube is just doing something weird, because the show is now live, so I can see the live comments. But so we can take live questions from the comments going forward.
Oh,
One
yes.
thing that we can ask about, which is obviously another topical thing now, and then we'll take from the comments. Now, you guys will remember I've been talking about Saturn changing signs, as you know, a little bit astrological weather, folks. And I said, look, he's going to pull his levers and he's going to create cold plunges. We've got a massive cold plunge that is coming through the UK, USA, Japan, the whole shebang. So he's doing his stuff. But you remember I said there will be news about things in the sky, astronomy, yeah, astrology as well, but things in the sky. Let's talk about this so-called Chinese spy weather balloon. Now, I say so-called.
I haven't got
because
Chinese cards, but I've got Russian cards. So I think they'll do.
I think they'll do. Let's just ask about
Somebody in the comments said if they were just delivering Chinese food.
Oh, that is cheeky. That's cheeky. But let's see, because now, as you know, we have to try and be as objective as we can, particularly when it comes to narratives. So, of course, from the American perspective, and you've had the top honchos saying, this is a spy balloon. Yeah, and I think there's some cameras on it. And it could well be a spy balloon. But if it is a spy balloon, it's very, very, very high, and it seems like it may have blown off course. Maybe China wanted to spy on someone else, because as we understand, we've got the trade winds, the high winds that also as well go up.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes, because they said the balloon crossed over Japan first. And if you go anti-clockwise, you then pass over Hawaii, and then you're in the mainland, California, etc. So let's just try and read, without us necessarily taking the headline verbatim, what is the situation with this balloon? Is it a spy balloon? Let's just see, yeah? Without judging the Chinese outright, yeah? Because it's so easy, isn't it, to go, oh, look, everyone spies on everyone. We know this. Come on. Everyone spies on everyone. It's just a bit too obvious. Do you know what I mean? Oh,
yeah.
With a big balloon.
They can't get more high tech than a balloon.
Exactly, a slow-moving balloon with some cameras on it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, from the first, it seemed weird to me.
Yeah. So.
Okay, what's the story? I'm going to ask generally. What's the story on the balloon?
What's the story with this balloon? Yeah, before. You know, it's easy to, of course, accuse China of everything, but I just think let's just try and be neutral and just see what the cards say. But yeah, and there will be more phenomena like this in the news, by the way. And watch out for Betelgeuse. We might have Betelgeuse become a supernova this year. So there's going to be lots of stuff talked about aviation, things in the sky, astronomy, astrology, the whole lot. Let's see what's going on. This balloon. God, what times we live in, eh? What times we live in. Oh. Oh my God. Some interesting cards. Who's ready to go?
Well, I am here. So
let rip.
The first card in this Russian deck. So now, the Russian deck, called the 12 Chairs deck, it's all about the search for the jewels in the chair, right? So symbolically, in Russia in the 20s and 30s, when they couldn't, and it's similar to China in so many ways because they're deep communist regimes, people couldn't speak out. So this famous play was put out talking about the corruption, and it was all about searching for the jewels in these chairs. So that's what they were doing, searching on some level. I'm not entirely convinced of what its full intention was, but I think generically looking.
Generic search.
Rabbit on. Shut up, Lena. Get on with it. Okay. This is the Magician. And again, the overlap between the Soviet Union and China, the big leader in control of the population, and the leader thinking knowledge is power. So insisting that more surveillance is done. This is very interesting here. It's a humble image, but it's the street sweeper, but he's wearing the glasses of the king. So this is someone in this deck spying for the king. So there's definitely an espionage element, and I didn't actually think there was necessarily when I started.
It's coming out in the cards.
An espionage element. The problem is, but they've blown it. Sorry about the pun, the balloon, blown it. Yeah, Ace of Swords. And I thought, well, what is that about? And I pulled a clarifier, which is the death card. But you can see here, it's like the body being incinerated in the coffin in a way. Here's the smoke coming out, and air balloons literally, it's surreal.
Yeah.
The imagery is surreal.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I think what I'm saying is, I don't think there'll be any more Chinese surveillance balloons. Someone's blown this really badly, heads are going to roll. And it's almost like the head honcho didn't know specifically, like the head just is, find me more information, not how to do it. And I think they're almost embarrassed.
Yeah, pretty embarrassing, I would agree. Lady G, what do you have? What do your cards bring?
I agree with Lena. The overview I got on it was bad health when it comes to the White House, and the con, that they are trying to pull a fast one. Because at the center of it, we have the fish tails that are being cut. That balloon was shot down. They did shoot it down.
Oh, did they? Did they
Yeah,
decide to shoot it down? Okay, makes sense.
So going into it, this was the action that was taken by the leader. Now, but it went up in flames, so to speak. We had the coffin, the end of that didn't work well. Okay. The challenge was, this was the opportunity that they were taking. Now, I think that it could be China, but it could be also Russia as well.
I'm getting this
We've got more than one.
Here, folks, looky here.
And the narcissists were all together on this. Yeah.
Wow.
It didn't.
That's awesome, Lady G.
Isn't that something?
It's like it's embarrassing for both sides.
Yeah. Because it's almost like I feel
really
he's coming to my face, but everyone is just like,
What did you get, Hoagie?
Oh, look, this is what I've got here. So
it's funny already.
this is so interesting. So the card I get here, look, is the 8 of Cups. So it's almost like China are just like, oh, Jesus Christ, let's just walk away from this. It's like they're like, oh my God, oh my God. This is totally backfired. Disown, deny. This hasn't worked. We can see it's gone kaput. Yeah, it's literally been shot down. Here they are feeling embattled about the situation. They're like, holy shit. Yeah. So here it is. They're embattled because obviously this is deeply embarrassing. I think they may have lost control of that balloon. Yeah. Literally. Just to give them a little credit. I think because literally this could be the balloon walking away. Yeah. Going off, just being like, see ya. And the Chinese are, wait. Oh, yeah. Trying to come back, balloon, come back. Yeah. But look. There's more. There was a bit of a collaboration going on here. Yeah, there was a bit of a collaboration going on. But when the balloon escaped, I think it's outed that relationship a bit. So people are like, well, who are they collaborating with? Who turns up? Now, for many people, this can represent America, but always for me, I've always had it as this Russia card. Mother Russia. Yeah, Russia. So I think they've been doing their little thing, trying to coordinate with Russia, and it went a little bit wrong. Trouble is, they've been found out, and here we've got lady, sort of lady of passion, yeah, communication, dialogue, stuff like this. It's the what does Whimsy say? That's it. She goes, justice absolute. Yeah, I think she calls this justice absolute. I love that. But in this context, the way I'm going to look at this is almost a bit like international gossip. Yeah, because this can actually be the socialite that brings everyone together. There's a big element here of conversation. And I just think this has just got tongues wagging. People know that this was obviously a kind of a collaboration, but it's gone a little bit wrong. And I think people are feeling embarrassed and they just want to walk away from it all. It's been shot down. And I think there's a lot of people that are just being like, yeah, let's just leave it there.
Well, maybe not, because Becky says there's a second balloon over South America.
No! Isn't this interesting?
I'm just wondering what they thought they're going to get out of it, because they thought they're going to get some kind of concrete thing that they're going to be using to be able to make money or
yeah. What was it really about?
Whatever.
Let's clarify, ladies, because obviously there's a bit more to this. Let's pull some clarify. Shall we do one card?
Let's do one card. What was I just going to say? Something about what was that? The second balloon over. Oh, what I was going to say was now they've shot the one over water. That's how you give your enemies the information on what that thing was about, by picking up the wreckage. Mm-hmm. So will they be able to pick up the wreckage because they shot it down over water or not? So we'll have to wait and see. Sorry, what is that question? What did they think?
I was going to say, because this is obviously, this story hasn't ended, even though this balloon seems to have escaped. There's another one over South America. So I was going to say, let's do some. Shall we do a one card pull each to see what the next stage of this debacle is?
Let's do that. It's the next stage of the balloon saga.
Honestly,
talk about a lot of hot air.
Quite literally. Oh my gosh. All right. One card each.
Hold on. I've got to focus. Hold on.
No problem. When you're ready. This is hilarious.
Someone's asking for Shakespeare as well, so maybe
we do Shakespeare on this as well. I'm reading on China. See what Shakespeare has to say. We ready?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So after three. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ooh.
Wow. I think this is interesting of the story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Lena, how do you interpret your card, the 6 of Swords?
I see China brackets Russia stroke America all trying to move on from this.
They're like, this is
because I don't know. We haven't got another half hour to keep explaining, but I think they'll be moving on. It'll fall out of the news, but Lady G.
Yeah, I just see it charging forward with that mentality and the mental spin about it, and we need to get this, and we need to get this quick.
Yeah.
Or rapidly bring something to an end. I think everyone's.
Yeah, I think they're desperate to move on, but there's more.
A balloon, and look here, but look, I get the Page of Wands. So we're gonna hear more about this, folks.
This story.
We're gonna hear more. We all know pages and messages. Fire is a war element, espionage and stuff. So there's more to come out of this story. I think a lot of people are embarrassed.
Or everyone's going to want to shut it down because each part of it, I think, makes themselves look bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
A balloon. Come on. It's a bit play school, isn't it? But there we are.
Is that the black deck? The black deck?
So I should explain. So this is Manzel's Tarot 2. Now these cards. Now this guy, I found him off Instagram, and his cards, they are just stunning. So if I give you an example here, one of my favorite cards is the High Priestess. Look at the High Priestess.
Yes.
Oh my God. And so he's got these fabulous cards. They're not strictly, exactly the same as the Rider-Waite. You have to kind of go in and use your intuition a bit more, but they are gorgeous. Took a while to get delivered. I think I might have him in the description in my video, but you can find him on Instagram and order the cards from there.
Manzel too.
Stunning, yeah, Manzel too. They're stunning. Even like his that sword, you know, with the wings and stuff like that. Okay, so what questions do we have that came in? Let's see.
I thought you were going to do the bard.
Oh, the bard.
Yeah, the bard.
Right. So
Yeah,
what?
it's
Okay,
Lena's
this is going to
turn.
be
I did it last time, so it's
exactly. So it's Lena's turn. So this is going to be the bard's take on China and this boo-boo that has happened with another boo-boo balloon going over South America. Okay, so I'm going to close my eyes, and Lena, you just tell me where to stop, and then we'll see what the bard has to say.
Stop.
Oh, this is a bit weird. Okay, so here, it says here, such is the simplicity of man to hearken after the flesh. When we think about that, so we think about it, such is the simplicity of man to hearken after the flesh. So the way I interpret that, obviously it's talking about the male sex drive, yeah? But we're talking about espionage here. So isn't it funny? There is this element, it's almost like, it's talking about China's motivation to hearken after the flesh of what? Information.
Yeah.
Patents. Now we know this is not to be bad to China, but this is a fact. If you want to do business in China, you have to hand over your intellectual property. I think everyone knows this one, isn't it? This isn't a slur. This is actually official policy. So there's that. Let's just see what's on the next. Let's see what's on the next page, just to see what here. It says an adulterous thief, a hypocrite, a virgin violator. No, I don't think it's that. This one is more subtle from the bard. This is about the desire in the context of China for flesh.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not literal. It is
Not
the flesh.
flesh.
It's meatiness. Yeah.
Whatever they can get their hands on to
what they,
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I think that's really quite a subtle
one.
In
the comments, someone says a grad student might have been responsible and it just went and it got out of control. Maybe some grad student was showing off. Look, I'm in that because it's going to send off everybody who's into UFOs, who's into everything. And we're going to have a month of that. But I think the real story is actually much more mundane.
Yeah, it was like a mind grab, an information grab. Like I think Shakespeare's got it right. That lust for the flesh in the sense of what can we get out of this?
Yes.
Every country spies, but this one was a bit of a clumsy one. Let's put it that way. You don't do it with a balloon.
It wasn't their best work, was it?
No, it wasn't their best work. Definitely not. And everyone.
The American military that just has another $825 billion for an annual budget or whatever the figure is. Don't correct me. I'm just being and they've got to shoot down a balloon. I mean, we're talking overkill here. I mean, everything about it is bizarre.
I know, it's astonishing, is it? Can you believe it? Even though we started later, the hour has flashed by. So I think we should have a quickie one-card pull. Ladies, can you see a question that you both like? We'll do a quickie one-card pull and we'll end the show. But it's definitely been a giggle. Oh, my God. Espionage blowing up in the face, quite literally. Wow. What do you see in the comments?
This isn't the question, but I just want to say to Melody, is George Pell happy in heaven? I'm going to say, Melody, I hope not. So that's an Australian reference. He was a highly placed Catholic bishop who at best covered up for pedophiles for decades and decades and decades.
Wow.
Other suspicious activity. He was taken to the Vatican and given the highest job in the Vatican recently in terms of money. And he's now been given this huge, fabulous funeral. But friends of mine were in Sydney protesting. So good.
I've just thought of one, and this is worth a one card pull, maybe digging into a bit more next week. Now, do you remember how I said that the GOP would try and seduce Cinema, or Cinema would be working with them in some way? What I've heard is that McCarthy has had dinner with her, yeah? Because, well, look, we know Mr. Santos, drag queen Santos, nothing wrong with drag queens, but do you know what I mean? Like, we're just like the sociopathic liar that is Santos. I'm not sure how much longer he can stick around. Look, obviously, they're going to try and keep him for a while, but they're going to need a replacement. Now, McCarthy obviously wants to keep his place. So he's looking at Cinema, who would be the logical choice. They've had dinner. Apparently, they've had dinner. So I think we should do a one-card pull on what he's trying to get out of her, and is he trying to recruit her?
Right. Hasn't she gone independent or something? What?
Yeah, but so she's like this.
She's halfway there.
Yeah.
Okay, one card on Cinema.
One card pull on Cinema and McCarthy situation. And see what insights. And we'll probably dig into it later in next week. I think the story will develop more by then. All right.
Ready, Teddy?
Yeah, ready to go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow.
Wow, yeah.
Look at this. All right, Lena, how do you interpret your card?
Well, there's so many obvious interpretations. The death of her career as a fake Dem, whatever, starting a new cycle, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Lady G.
Lady G.
Yeah. And mine is the traditional, abuse of power and the mental spin, thinking that they're going to get something out of it.
Yeah. And here, my card, again, very straightforward. He's going to try and pay her off. Here he is trying to give her the money, because we all know, she likes a bit of cashini. So I think those three cards together speak volumes. Yeah. She's turning a leaf. She's turning a
thought. Maybe the dinner was about her staying as a Dem, taking up a Dem position. But knowing she will side with them or something.
It could be something like that. But we can see money
a clean move to the other side.
Exactly. But he certainly made her an offer. It's a
totally. Compromise. It's the money laundering card. It's compromise. It's all of that.
How interesting. Abuse of power, turning over a new leaf, her leaving behind maybe that democratic past, him trying to seduce her with the money. Wow, I love those one card pulls. But the time has gone, folks, in a flash. And we are quite over, and we're already over the over because of
we're beyond over.
Show late. So don't worry, guys, next week I'm not going to be gallivanting with friends, even though I did leave time, and 50th birthday and all this kind of stuff, and it's too long to explain that someone was having, but the buses kind of basically let me down. And so we will see you all next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you too for the donations and stuff like that. And we will catch you soon. But very interesting, isn't it, what came out there in the show?
Wow. And thanks for your patience, guys. Really.
Thanks for waiting around.
Yes, we really appreciate that. But we'll be timely next week, not to worry. So it's a bye-bye for now, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks so much for supporting the show. And don't forget to like and subscribe, not only to my channel, but Lady G and, of course, Dr. Lena as well. So we will see you all next week. So bye-bye for now. Okay, let's see if this will actually sign off in time, because I'm using my other computer. So we might even be lingering for a few awkward seconds here.